Brick. Totally a success. It has really changed my reading pace. Good morning, YouTube. So this week I'm going to be doing a video where I see how much reading I can get done my first week with the Brick device. I got this about 2 days ago, but yesterday was my first full day using it. And I got so much reading done. I read about 40 pages of my last book and finished it. Then I read 96 pages of my new book, and then I listened to a few hours of audiobook. I had the Brick active for 4 hours now today. I've only read a little bit, but I have been listening to my audiobooks. And I want to talk about the books that I'm currently reading, and hopefully I'll get to more books throughout the video. First, the book that I'm listening to is I Want to Die, But I Also Want to Eat Toboke. I know that I pronounced that wrong every single time. I always work myself up in my head to say it correctly, and then it doesn't come out right. But anyways, this is kind of like a memoir, but not really. A woman in Korea wrote this. It's just transcribing conversations that she's had with her therapist. There isn't a plot to the book at all. It's literally just text conversation. She has depression and I believe a bit of social anxiety. She overthinks every single social interaction that she has in her life. Every single time she talks to someone, she's thinking in her head that they were evaluating her, sort of. Just overthinking every single interaction. And I think that we've all dealt with that to some degree in our lives. I used to deal with that on an extreme level, and it's something that I've worked on a lot over the years. And reading someone else having these same thoughts that I have or that I used to have, just a reminder that a lot of the things in your head don't really make a lot of sense when you hear someone else say them. I feel like anyone that has social anxiety should listen to this book, or if you've dealt with it in the past, just because it's just always a good reminder. Not every conversation you have with someone, they're not evaluating you or deciding if they like you or not. So I'm enjoying that. It's really short. I think I only have like an hour and a half left, so I'll probably finish that today. And then the book I'm reading on my Kindle is Rules for the Summer by Quinn. So I'm in the middle of my summer reading right now, and last summer I read another book by Quinn. I forget what it was called, but it was my first book by her I had ever read, and it was so funny. I was laughing through the whole thing, and it was one of my favorite books of the summer. I think about it all the time. She came out with another summer themed book. I don't know if she does that every year, but I hope she does. And it's called Rules for the Summer. This one also has just a ridiculous premise, but it is so funny. This is about a woman that lives in a small town. It's totally like Gilmore Girls, where everyone knows each other. Everyone's always bickering with each other, and she inherits a candy store. And the way that this town operates, whenever the owner of this candy store passes away, it gets passed on to another townsperson, and she really wants to inherit the candy store. She does. She wins the bid, and she realizes she's doing this with her aunt. Her aunt is insane, but she's so funny, and I'm obsessed with her. Her aunt misunderstood the whole conversation and thought that they were getting a loan for $20,000, when in reality they needed $20,000 in order to get this candy store up and running. And so now they're in this predicament where they need this money. The whole town already doesn't really love them. They're like, you guys are gonna fail, that's why we picked you. Like, which is really mean. They just want to make them like the laughing stock of the town, basically. So they can't back out of this. So they decide they're gonna go online and find someone to finance this candy store, but they accidentally sign up for a website where people are looking for fiancés. And the person that they match up with is someone that lives in England. He's the son of a duke, and his friend put him on this Find a Fiancé website as a joke. But since he's famous in the UK and kind of like one of the famous bachelors out there, it spreads throughout the news like crazy. His dad is sick of his antics, and he's like, you have to go through with this, and you have to get married by the end of the summer. I'm tired of all the things that you're up to all the time, which is also ridiculous. But he goes to the US to meet up with her. I think she lives in Massachusetts, one of those states up there. And he's like, I'm ready to get married. And she's like, I thought you were someone that was going to finance us, not someone that I was going to be a fiance for. The aunt is the best part. She is obsessed with hobby horsing, which is something I had never heard of before. She's obsessed with it. Also, the MMC, he brought along his best friend that put him on the website. And apparently, just coincidentally, the best friend is a huge fan of her hobby horsing. She's like a hobby horsing influencer. Everyone in this book is insane. It's a pretty long book. I'm reading the Kindle copy, but I've seen this inside the bookstore. It's pretty long for a romance, but I'm flying through it already. And I'm hoping that with the brick, I'll get through it even quicker. I don't know what other books I'm going to be listening to or reading, so I do have on my Libby, I have Frederik Backman, My Friends. I don't know if that's a summer read, but they're in the water, so to me that's summer. Okay, so second day with my break, but first day of this vlog. I did really well with staying off my phone and getting audiobook listening time in. I also spent some time editing. I didn't really get a lot of physical book reading or Kindle book reading done, but I still see it as a win because my screen time is way down. I didn't spend really any time just mindlessly scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. I got my first audiobook done. I Want to Die, but I also want to eat Taboke. Every time I say that, I'm like, I just know that I sound like a fool. I really do recommend that book to anyone that struggles with social anxiety or overthinking interactions with people. It was so helpful to me, even though I said this is something that I've worked on a lot. I've gotten really good at not overthinking things and really just realizing that not everything is about you. Someone is in a weird mood one day, it's not because they're upset with you. It's usually because there's something else going on in their life. So I've gotten really good at that, but it is always good to have a reminder. You just never know when those thoughts are going to hit you out of nowhere. I did also appreciate in the epilogue, her therapist actually leaves a note. I guess she read the book herself and she didn't like how she said that she sounded dismissive when she read the book back, and she didn't feel like she was being the best therapist or psychiatrist that she could. And I appreciated her leaving that note. I personally thought that she was great. I think sometimes people need to be told things bluntly and directly and very matter-of-factly. So I thought she was great in the book, but I'm also not a mental health professional, so it's not really like my opinion on that matters. I started listening to My Friends by Frederik Backman. I am already so interested in this book. I think it's told in dual POV or dual timelines, but it starts with a girl and she's obsessed with this painting and she goes to steal the painting. She runs into what she believes to be a homeless man and they have an interaction, and I really can't say anything else than that actually now that I think about it, because it gives away kind of a twist that happens very early on in the book. I'm gonna start reading my Kindle book now. It's very late, but I'm not very tired. My phone has been, I was bricking it during the day just physically, like I would just turn it off, and then I have it on a schedule to at 9:30 it turns off for the rest of the night, and it won't turn back on until the next day when I unbrick it. So I haven't checked my phone in a few hours, and I realized that a lot of the reason that I'm on my phone so much is I feel like I'm gonna miss something, like some big world event or something with a friend. It's a big part of it, and I feel like I'm addicted to checking it. But now that I'm removed from my phone, it just makes me realize that I'll see all that stuff tomorrow, or if it's really important, I'm sure someone will text me or call me. It's not like I don't need to be in the know every single second of the day. Okay, so I ended up reading 51 pages last night. That's not as many pages as I wanted to read yesterday, but I could barely keep my eyes open. I was up reading until a little bit past midnight. Like I said in the last clip, I still see yesterday as a success. I looked at my social media time. I spent 49 minutes for the day on TikTok and 21 minutes on Instagram. And my TikTok addiction, I'm usually all together on there for a few hours a day. Now I'm a little upset because I'm pretty sure I'm getting sick. I was around someone that was sick and now I'm just not feeling 100% today. I don't feel absolutely awful, but I just have that tired feeling, and just, you know, you just get that feeling right before you're sick. So I think it's coming on. I tried taking some zinc, but I'm not confident that it's really gonna do anything. So I have been bricked on my phone for 4 hours today, but I was working for those 4 hours. I'm on my lunch break right now, so I'm going to try to get a little bit of reading done on my lunch. I get an hour for lunch, which is really nice. And then just updates where I'm at in the story. Our male main character, I can't remember his name. I know her name is it Renly? He rented out the house next to her for the entire summer. She's obviously very weirded out by this. I would too. But I mean, when he rented it out, he legitimately thought that she wanted to get engaged. So it makes sense for him. But for her, she's in an uncomfortable situation. She doesn't want him there because she's like, I told you I'm not marrying you, but you can still just stop by my house whenever you feel like it. And he is helping her out with something. She really needs it, and he gave her an offer she can't refuse. And he's like, in return, I just want you to go on walks with me every day. And she's like, whatever, I'll just go on these walks with you, but just so you know, this is not gonna lead to us getting engaged. I mean, I've heard time and time again in these romance books when someone says, we're going to do this, but it's not going to result in us getting together. We know what happens every single time. That's why we're reading it. So I'm really curious to see how their friendship progresses and then how it becomes something more. The aunt is still the highlight of the story for me. She is hilarious. I imagine her as like a Sue Sylvester-ish kind of character, but a nicer version of Sue Sylvester. Okay, so I just finished a little bit of the book on my lunch, and Renly shared a little bit more about why this candy shop is so important to her and why she wants it so badly. And a lot of it has to do with grief with her dad, where she grew up going to this candy shop with him, and when she walks through the door, she's just flooded with all these memories of him. And I'm just thinking about, like, these townspeople are so evil for wanting to take that away from her. I get that not everything in life can be led through emotions, but I grew up in a small town like this, and there's just some things that you don't, like, they should be important to everyone, and I couldn't imagine living somewhere like this and people just don't care about these fixtures within the town. Okay, so I didn't film yesterday because I felt like garbage, but my phone was bricked most of the day. I spent, I think, less than 30 minutes each on Instagram and TikTok. Usually my screen time for Instagram will be like an hour and a half, and TikTok, it's hours. I am really, really liking not having my phone as a distraction. Usually when I'm sick too, I just scroll and scroll and scroll in bed rot, and I don't do anything productive, but I did get to page 250 on my book. And I listened to a good amount of My Friends by Frederik. The book is so cute and it's so silly, but it's a good kind of silly. They are starting to form more of a friendship. Renly is still being really resistant to having any sort of romantic feelings towards him, but she has kind of noticed maybe I do like him a little bit, but she's still not on board with the engagement thing at all. Theo, I can never remember his name, and then I think of Theo James, and that's how I can remember his name. He's so funny, and his friend, I don't know his friend's name. She keeps calling him his butler, but it's not his butler. It's just literally just his childhood best friend. I need a book with him. This is just what I needed. I can get through, if a book has a lot of funny elements to it, I just speed through it. So I'm gonna say this out loud, and I might regret it, but I kind of want to be ambitious and finish this today. It's longer for a romance. It's, I think, 587 pages. For romance, that's pretty long. And I've seen this at the bookstore, and it's a chunky book for a romance. But I'm just flying through it so quickly, and with my brick, I just feel like I can do it, okay? I feel like I can do it. Tomorrow, I am meeting up with some friends, and we're having a little pool party. So we won't be getting a ton of reading done, so I just kind of want to knock this out. I will say, okay, I have a reading sprint to do with Heather McClary's book club at 8 or 9 a.m. So if I have like 20, 30 pages left of this, then I'll still be happy with it because I can just knock it out during that reading sprint. But just main update, the brick works, you guys, okay? Anyways, I have a free day, and I also need to do some house cleaning. So I just feel like I can get a lot of this book done, get close to finishing it, and get a big chunk of my audiobook done. I also need to trim my bangs today because I'll put them the way that they're supposed to be, Right when I turn the camera on, I go like this. And then look how they look. It's like a chunk. I have really thick hair, so I can't really do the whole side swept look. Okay, I just had a little hair wash day and trimmed my bangs. I really should have been reading, and it takes a long time to do my hair, but I was looking insane and I couldn't do it anymore. I cut my own hair, so if you see me looking a mess, that is why. I just watched, not the finale of Love Island, but the semi... do they call it the semi-final on Love Island? That sounds dramatic. It was the last vote before the final. I cannot believe that Sincere and Melanie are still on the show. Love Melanie, but just, it seems irresponsible to vote for them, if I'm being honest. And no. By the time I post this, the show will be over, but I'm sure the wound will still be fresh, because like, what is going... I know her family's pissed that they are still there. They probably want her to come home so badly and out of Sincere's clutches. I'm flabbergasted. I don't think I talked too much about my friends and where I'm at with that. We are learning a little bit about the artist's past. I'm really interested in it because I'm not an artist like he is. Like, he's like a serious artist, but I like to paint and I make fan art and stuff. And some of the emotions that he's talking about with art, how people perceive it and what it actually feels like and how important it is to you, I do relate to it a little bit, even though I can't relate to being a world-renowned artist in the slightest. I'm curious to see what else he has to say about that. I didn't even think about that going into the book, which is crazy that I didn't really think about that element of the book, and I'm even more excited for it now. I think we're about to have our first kiss. 1:40. My neighbor's about 3 houses down. I'm pretty sure they had a wedding in their backyard today, and very happy for them, but they're still partying right now, and I don't think I'll be going to bed anytime soon. So I think if I continue reading for about another hour, I'll have it timed perfectly to where I can just finish up the rest of this tomorrow when I have the reading sprint. Book unexpectedly has taken kind of an emotional turn. So Renly is really frustrated. She loves her aunt a lot, but she's not the most responsible person. And she has decided that hobby horsing is her career, even though she's not going to make any money off of it. She's kind of having trouble distinguishing between a hobby and a career. And it's kind of bringing back a lot of memories for Renly, because her dad, who she misses a lot and who passed away, was kind of the same way. So even though she misses him a lot, she's also kind of resentful because she felt like she always had to be the adult even when she was a kid. And even now, she's doing all these odd jobs around town to make money for her and her aunt is kind of just into her hobby horsing. Her aunt's supposed to be helping her renovate the candy shop so they can have it open before end of summer and get in with the tourist season. And her aunt's like, I'm busy with my horses, okay? They're not real horses, by the way. I was going to put up some images of what hobby horsing is, but it is a real hobby that people partake in, so I don't want to feel like I'm making fun of anyone. But just look up what it is. Imagine her aunt spending time doing that instead of helping with this candy store that is going to affect their financial future. I understand Renly's frustrations. Oh, also, I got an alert from the Brick app that I have had the Brick activated for a total of 100 hours so far. So I hit that milestone. Granted, a lot of those hours are just when I'm sleeping. If you would have asked me how many hours I thought I've done so far, I would have said like 20. Clearly I have no concept of time. Very exciting update. I'm 96 pages into, I just flung my bookmark like that. Okay, I'm 96 pages into Just for the Summer. I cannot believe I haven't read this book yet, because I feel like this is the summer book of the past couple of years. I do have some predictions so far, so I can already tell the main character, I think her name is Emma. Yeah, Emma and her best friend. I know they care about each other a lot and they have a great friendship, but I also feel like it's a little toxic, and I can see it going I think that's going to be a conflict later in the book just because of her friend. I feel like she doesn't really accept that Emma never wanted to be adopted by her parents and she's her foster sister. Even though Emma loves her parents and she kind of sees them as parental figures, she just never wanted to get adopted. So, and I mean, that's totally her decision. So I feel like there's some resentment there a little bit. And then the whole Hawaii thing where they were supposed to go on vacation, or not on vacation. They were supposed to do their traveling nurse thing and go to Hawaii. And then they decided at the last minute, let's go to Minnesota. So Emma can do that whole fake dating thing with Justin. And I know that her friend is like, oh, I'm happy to do it. But I just know that they're already running into a lot of issues with the house and transportation and everything. I just feel like by the end of the 6 weeks, I don't think I'm making any crazy predictions here when I say that this is just not gonna go perfectly. And then, of course, her mom just showed up. And her friend does not like her mom. And I totally get why she doesn't like her. But this is just gonna add the whole other element to this not being great for their friendship. So they're both great friends, and her friend is a really good friend for agreeing to cancel going to Hawaii for 6 weeks for this crazy idea. I just feel like it's going to blow up in their faces by the end of it, and I have more predictions about that than I do about the romance. Their first date was really cute, and he does seem very considerate. He remembered her Starbucks order and brought her Starbucks. I thought that was really cute, and I really like that he was really nervous the first time that they hung out. He's supposed to be very attractive. And sometimes I feel like in romances, if the guy, I mean, they're all attractive, but like, if they keep talking about how attractive they are, I feel like at first, sometimes the guy will come off a little bit overconfident, which is cute for a romance, but it's also nice seeing a guy that's really attractive and has a little bit of nervousness or first date jitters happening. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of bumps along the road, and right where I left off is where her mom showed up, and he's already made it clear just from the first time that they hung out that he's like, I'm not vibing with all these stories that you're telling me about your mom. Not vibing is kind of like the nicest way that I could put it. He was like, this is awful. I guess I wasn't expecting this story to be so heavy, which I am liking. I had no idea that it was going to be like that. I finished Just for the Summer. I didn't really talk a lot about it when I was reading it because I was enjoying it so much that I just couldn't put it down, and I didn't even really think about picking up the camera most of the time. I will say a lot of my predictions that I had at the beginning ended up not being true. I still feel like the friendship dynamic at the beginning was a little bit toxic, but they didn't hash it out the way that I thought they would. They just kind of supported each other and did what a good friend should do on both sides. So I was happy about that. I've heard people say that Justin is acts of service, but I didn't know to this extent. The part with the floaty, the unicorn floaty, I was shocked. Okay, that was a lot. I don't even know if it was really possible that he did that, to be honest, but it was so, like, amazing. Okay, so I had no idea that this was going to be an emotional read. It looks like it's just like a cute summer romance at a lake. I didn't realize, first of all, I didn't realize that, I thought that I hadn't read the books leading up to this, but I have read Part of Your World. I'm so confused by the Abby Jimenez universe. I need to look at a visual chart because I didn't know they were related. And then the way that they're related was crazy. I can't necessarily relate to how Emma grew up and her dynamic with her mother, but I wasn't expecting that element or for it to be that impactful. And then in Part of Your World, not to get too spoilery, but there is a mother figure aspect to it that is also very emotional, but I feel like this was on another level. Okay, I don't cry a lot during books. I was tearing up a lot at the end of it, and it was kind of happy tears and sad tears. When everything came together at the end, it was just so many emotions, good and bad, coming at me at the same time. I could go on and on, but yeah, I did not know what I was getting into when I hopped into this book at all. I just thought it would be cute, and I thought that people were rating it 5 stars just because they liked the couple so much. And I mean, that is a big part of it, but I didn't realize I had no idea what I was getting into. I've said that like 5 times already, but I'm going between, for just for the summer, like a 4.5 or a 5. I haven't really decided yet. I think I was like pretty solid the whole book. Like this is a 4. The ending kind of made it a 5 just because of how emotional I got. And that just doesn't really happen to me with books that much. I've talked about it before. A book can make me really, really emotional, but to get me to physically cry is a lot. Which is weird because I cry over movies. I cry even at sporting events. Like, I cry very easily. But with books, I think it's because I'm a slow reader. So I can see it building up for a while. And in order for something to make me cry, it has to kind of catch me by surprise a little bit. So I think that has something to do with it. But it did make me tear up. Then because I jumped into that book so quickly and I read through it so quickly, it took me like a day and a half to read. I didn't really talk about Rules for the Summer. This was so cute. I said it a bunch of times. So funny. It's not really like... I would say it's like a 3.75 to a 4. Just because it was very long and it was like more of like a cute read. So I don't know that I would... Even though I loved it so much, like I really, really liked it, it still wouldn't be a 5-star for me just because I don't really have any emotional attachment to this book. I'm probably not really going to think about it that much after this. But... if you are looking for a funny summer read a Meghan Quinn book. This one and her last book, her last summer book, I can't remember the name of it, but I talked about it earlier. Like, I've never, like, she gets humor down so well in books. And it's very, like, cheesy humor and, like, one-liners and stuff. And even though it was long, I went through it very quickly. A lot of it because of the brick. I'll talk about that in a minute. But, yeah, I recommend this one a lot. A lot. I mean, this one I recommend if you want something very emotional that is really just going to immerse you in the story and make you feel a lot of feelings. This one, if you want something cute, funny, and a little bit silly. Audiobook, I'm only like halfway through with it, and I wish I was further. I just haven't really been in an audiobook mood lately. It might be because of the brick. I don't really have my phone on me all the time, so I just kind of forget to turn on my audiobook. So that's not really a bad thing. I did think that I was going to get through like 2 audiobooks in this vlog. But also it's a read that I feel like this book you need to really sit with it. I'm not listening to it on a really fast-paced speed like I do with a lot of audiobooks. I really want to take in the story. I didn't really go through my last audiobook that quickly. Wait, that's a lie. My last audiobook was only a 3-hour long audiobook, so I mean I did go through that quickly. The one before that, it did take me a while to go through. So wait, I listened to like 1.5 audiobooks in this vlog because I listened to this one. Now I'm listening to this one, but I'm just not done with it yet. But I'll get there, and all I can say right now is that Frederik Backman is a great writer, and his book is also funny. It's just like a very dark kind of humor. And The Brick, totally a success. It has really, really changed my reading pace. I am not a fast reader at all. If I really, really like a book, I can read it in a week. I mean, every once in a while, I'll read a book within a few days, but it's pretty rare. Usually, I'm not like your average booktube, booktok girly that's reading like 10 books a month, 20 books a month. I read 2 books. How many books did I read? I think I read 2 books this week and then 1.5 audiobooks. For me, that's really good. So to me, it's a success. My screen time, I haven't broken it down day by day, but it's like less than an hour a day on social media. To me, it is totally worth it. I'm actually about to reread 3 books in a row. I never reread books because I get bored, but these are 3 books that I've been wanting to reread for quite a while, and I'm like, now's the time to do it because I'm so focused and I'm going through books quickly. So that'll be the next vlog. And hopefully The Brick will help me with that as well. So 10 out of 10 recommend The Brick. I would say if you have HSA or FSA, then definitely check and see if you can get it that way because it is a little bit pricey. Or there's tons of people have discount codes for it too. But even if it is a little pricey, and I mean pricey like it's like $60 or $70. I don't mean like hundreds of dollars. It's worth it. It's really, really worth it for your time and your energy and your mental health, reaching your reading goal, any other goals that you have that your phone is getting in the way of. I really don't think you can put a price on that. That is going to be the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I am really, really happy with all the reading I got done and the time I stayed off my phone, and I will see you guys in the next one.